Yeah, so today at 2:19 p.m., our SWAT team responded to 5614 Lejeune Drive to serve a drug search warrant. They entered the residence. While inside, they encountered a man who was reaching behind a door where a rifle was eventually located. One deputy fired his service weapon, striking the man. Our deputies rendered first aid. He was later transported to the hospital and pronounced dead. Again, we were there 2 weeks ago for a domestic violence call where we found drugs, trafficking amounts of fentanyl and cocaine, a stolen firearm, as well as another gun. That led to a narcotics investigation. We were able to get a search warrant to search for more drugs and more weapons related to that ongoing narcotics investigation.
Everyone who had the pleasure of knowing Tyrone knew what an extraordinary father he was and how much he loved his child. His friends and family got to experience how loving, funny, kind-hearted, and hardworking he was. He would go out of his way to put a smile on everyone's face, even if he was sad himself. He was very selfless and put his loved ones first. Tyrone had the greatest smile I've ever seen and was always dancing and laughing. No matter what was broken, he always found a way to fix it. He self-taught himself so many things, and I love that about him. He was a businessman. He had his own cleaning business and he just passed his health insurance exam with flying colors. He literally would do anything he could do anything he put his mind to. He was always a shoulder to cry on, or a friend that would show up when you needed them the most. You could always count on him. They took a great man, a loving father, a son, a brother, the best friend you could ever ask for, the greatest partner known to man. You took that away from us that day.
They entered the residence. While inside, they encountered a man who was reaching behind a door where a rifle was eventually located. One deputy fired his service weapon, striking the man.
They say the gun was later found behind the door. There was no gun behind the door. When I left here at 10:45-ish, that gun was in the closet, zipped up in a rifle bag in the back of the closet. There was no gun. There was no gun behind the door.
And as deputies were approaching the house and knocking on the door, gave clear commands that it was the sheriff's office, that we had a search warrant to open the door. They did forcibly open the door, and we use a loudspeaker from outside the residence that continually says, "Search warrant, hands up."
When you were here and when the raid was going on, the sheriff's office said that over a loudspeaker they announced they were here and they had a warrant. Did you hear
No,
it?
sir. They came in, so I don't know how I don't think the door was locked. All I heard a bunch of hollering, then I heard shooting, and I'm thinking it was a house jacking because that boy always getting shot at and stuff. So I'm trying, I got the only room with a back door, so I'm trying to ease my old ass out the back door. You know, I want to live another day. And then the police waiting there with scopes on me, man. They treated me rough too. I ain't gonna forget that, but you know, I'm glad. Now, I hate it happened to Tyrone, but it could have been worse, you know. So they just did that to raid the whole house. I guess they thought it was just a trap house instead of a rooming house. Tyrone was the youngest one here, and he'd been here longer than anybody. I'm 61, Mr. Fund is 70-something, Angel and them in their 60s. Tyrone was the little son of the bunch. He was my little son, man.
So how many people lived at the residence?
At the time, Gino and his little crackhead, they was there, that's 2. Brent, that's 4. Mr. Fund is 5. Angel and 6, 7, 8. Everybody, you know, 2 of them had their rooms. You know, what me and Fonzie, we lived by ourselves.
So Tyrone wasn't involved with any of the people who got caught with the drugs?
No, Tyrone barely couldn't even stand them. Cause they come here booming, you know, everybody was a turnoff to us. Cause it's a quiet little street here. This ain't no drug street, really. But they try to tell us about it. They killed them like it was a drug house. No, it wasn't. You had one bad apple, and we complained about that bad apple, and somebody had to die. Somebody had to die.
I just wanted to say something really quickly, because on that night of the 3rd, we were in there sleeping, so they didn't even bother our room that night. They went straight back to Gino and Farrah's room, confiscated what they got from Gino and Farrah's room. I didn't even know they were here until that next morning. So I just
domestic call?
It was a domestic call.
And they found all kinds of
Farrah
drugs
is the
and
one
stuff
who
in
called. And so when they got over here, Farrah was like, oh, he's a felon and he has this there, this there, this there, this there. So we as roommates the next day were like, oh, well, we're not going to have to worry about him anymore, because if he's a felon and they confiscated all of these things from him, he's not going to get out of jail. They let him out 2 days later.
Yeah,
that was on the 3rd. May 3rd, that was a Saturday. He was out by Monday morning. Early Monday morning, he was on the porch. So we're like, is he an informant? Like, how did he get out that quick? You know, but that is the basis for the 5/16 when they came back on 5/16. They used what they confiscated on the 3rd, even though they didn't charge him for it. They only charged him for domestic violence.
Wow.
Nothing can replace him. But the least we ask for is justice. In whatever form, let us see. I get the runaround when I call, oh, okay, you guys killed him on Friday. FDLE comes to my home in Miami Monday evening. Okay. I call around to get questions. Hey, what's going on with whether it's medical examiner's office, whether it's the agent on the case of FDLE, whether it is Detective Orange County, it's a full circle. FDLE tells me, oh, you have to call Orange County. Orange County tells me, oh, unfortunately, because we're the one who this incident happened from, we're not the lead investigators, you have to call back FDLE. Where does it stop? Where does it stop?
Orlando Against Police Crime strongly condemns the unjust murder of 32-year-old Tyrone Bartley by unnamed Orange County Sheriff deputies during a SWAT raid on the afternoon of May 16th, 2025.